Hello, everyone. This is Latoya of Infinite Nature, and I just wanted to get on really quick to just talk about how cleansing um, your body impacts your ability to create the your life. And I was motivated to talk about this today in particular because I was looking at my journal, my old journals. I was looking at journals from like 2011 2011, and I was just seeing how so much has changed. And excuse the dog in the background, that's not my dog, but this is a highly anxious dog that barks at everything. So just I apologize if this is distracting for anyone that watches this back on the replay. Um but but yeah, so my journal entries from 2011, I was looking at those journal entries, and I was just seeing how there was a lot of stuff. This was back when I was really starting to journal and really starting to write out the life that I desire, and I was starting to really like focus on like personal development and really starting to take accountability for the life that I have created from that point. From the time that I was a young adult, and that was a very transformative year. That was a energy of four. If you're into the study of numbers, numerology, 2011 was a 4 year, and my personal year, which the way you get your personal year is by your date of birth and then the current year. And every time I add up my personal number for my personal year, it always is the same as the universal year. And the universal year in 2011 was 4, and my personal year was 4. And like now, the personal year is 5, and for this year, the universal year is 2020 and 5. So like I always get a double whammy of that universal energy that we all are experiencing. So 4 was like a call to like balance my life out, and I was not realizing that I was really writing out some of the things that I am living now. Like one of the things that I planted a seed back in 2011 was to eat vegetarian, and now I eat raw vegan. Like, and we're what, 10 years later, and I eat raw vegan. So, stuff like that. But I also was looking at how there was a lot of things on there that wasn't even in alignment to what I wanted to experience in my life. It was more so what I was fed as a child. It was more so what society, um, designed for people to, you know, to live out, like what the society standards are. What are the society standards? Looking back at it now, and it's like the reason why those things didn't manifest and why I was having such a hard time and really struggling to like manifest the things that I wanted to manifest back then was because it was not in alignment to my life path. And it was because at that time I was eating not the best. And once I began to cleanse my body, and once I began to eat more foods of the earth, and once I began to eat live foods, I began to hear myself more clearly. I began to get downloads from Mother Earth, from Mother Nature, from the universe, of what really my calling is, what really my divine purpose is, what really I want. I started hearing my voice, you know, and I started being more mindful of my inner critic. I started becoming more mindful of like just what I just started being more crystal clear about what I wanted from my life. Once I began to cleanse my body, and I've been saying this a lot lately, once been once I've been able to clean my body, cleanse my body, I have been able to be very clear about what I want in my life. And I begin to see how my life will begin to be more balanced and more organized. I begin to see things manifest much more quickly. And I know that word manifest is a common word, and some people may think it's hocus pocus or whatever, but it's very real. And I feel like if you study universal laws, and I've had the luxury of being able to sit at the feet of amazing elders and people who have taught me about the universal laws and how I can utilize them in my life and how I have utilized them in ways that benefit me and in ways that don't benefit me, you know? And it's just amazing. I'm just looking back at so many things that I have written down in my journal that was just, I'm looking at and I'm like, this is not what I wanted. And I'm glad that that it didn't manifest itself. And one thing that you can write things down all you want to, you can play them in a recording all you want to, you can visualize it all you want to, but if you do not believe in it, it's not going to manifest itself. And if you are so attached to it to the point where it seems impossible, or to the point where you're finding you having blockages, you know, you're not going to manifest it. That's just the reality of it. But one thing that I began to see as I began to clean up my diet, and when I went plant-based and officially in 2012, I began to see how my life was, I was creating the life that I wrote down. And I started reading certain books that supported me and being able to really hone in on that skill. And I realized that it's something that I've always had in me since I was like young. I remember back when I was like 12, 13 years old. I think I was 13. And in a class, I think it was my English class, we wrote down like dreams or things that we want to, want to accomplish in our lives. And I remember back when the year that I got married, I remember just unintentionally looking at my old stuff from when I was 13 years old. And I wrote in there that I wanted to get married by the time I was 29 and have twins. Now, I didn't have no twins, and I had no desire to have twins. I don't have no desire to have twins at this point. But it was funny because I got married when I was 29 years old. And I thought that was just mind boggling. I was like, oh my goodness. And this is like back in I think I was when I was 13, 98, 99 or something. But yeah, so I was just like, oh my goodness, like how I was, like I always had it in me. I always was an avid reader. I always had a vivid imagination. I'm one of those people that can like imagine a book as a movie. I just have a very vivid imagination and being able to visualize things. And another example is fast forward to when the first year that I ate raw vegan, and how so many things it was like time was just speeding by for me in 2016. That was it 2015. 2015 to 2016, time was speeding extremely fast. And by the time that I got into 2016, I decided to leave my job, and I was just being able to hear myself better and see things. And in my meditations, I was able to see myself, because back then I was living in Wilmington, Delaware, and back then I was working in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I would see myself in my meditation. I would have the same meditation over and over again, where I would be able to see myself driving to work from Wilmington, Delaware to Philadelphia, and then it was on highway I-95 for people that are familiar with the United States, and I-95. So I'm driving on I-95, and you can go from I-95, you can go from up north to down south. So, it's a straight shot. I-95 from Wilmington, Delaware, all the way down to Savannah, Georgia, where I'm from. That is a straight shot. And I was dreamed that I would see, I'm not dream, I would meditate. In my meditation, I would see I-95. And I see the bridge here in my area, in my Savannah, Georgia. So I was like, oh boy, that's a sign that I'm going to be moving back home. And I've been wanting to move back home, but I knew that at that time I had to just let go of that attachment and just know that, it will happen when it will happen. But it ended up happening literally within months of me having that meditation. And I will have this meditation of driving behind a moving truck that was pulling a car. And it wasn't until I was moving with my husband down south to Savannah that I was like, oh wow, I was literally driving in my truck behind my husband, who has a moving truck. and he was pulling a car that we had at the time. And I was like, I didn't even put one and two together that we were going to do that. Like, I literally was seeing myself in the future, but I was, meditating. And I kept having that meditation, that visualization of that. I kept having it in my mind when I was meditating. And I was so confused. Like, I was like, why am I seeing this? I'm so confused. But, at that time I was still working at a job in corporate, and I was not enjoying the job. I felt like I was in two places. I mean, I felt like I was being two different people. I felt like I was not really being myself, and I felt like I wasn't utilizing my divine gifts for what I wanted, and I did not feel appreciated where I was working at. So there was a desire to leave, but at the same time, I knew that I had to be, I had to accept the present moment for what it was. But little did I know, fast forward within 5 months of having those constant meditations, that we would be moving. And I was just like, wow, like that is amazing. And I definitely attest that to the personal development that I've been doing on myself. I attest that to the foods that I was eating and continue to eat, and like I said, a cleanse mind and body and spirit. You will be able to manifest things so much more quicker. Time goes much more faster, and it's just a beautiful thing. And that's something that I want people to remember. And I know that we are in that day of age where, people talk about manifestation all the time. And sometimes it can seem redundant or seem like cliche, but it really is not when you know how to utilize it. You feel me? But you really have to do the work. And and I just have to put it out there. Not a lot of people are willing to do the work. I hope that through time and the people that are doing the work, that we are able to inspire people to do it. But I think a lot of times people, they see what you're doing and they think that that it just comes so easy to you, not realizing that you may have had to go through so many things in order to be where you are. And I know that the time period of like 2011 for me personally was very, very tough. I was not in a good space. I felt like I had great friends, but it was just everything else wasn't good as far as the romance, like the romantic part. I wouldn't even call that a part of romantic partner. The person that I was involved with at the time, me being in graduate school and not wanting to be there, that was a problem. You know, not having enough money, like it was just everything was just out of whack. But let me tell you, when I began to take responsibility for my life, when I began to hold myself accountable, when I began to truly follow my heart and not worry about what society thinks or what my family thinks or what my friends think or what anybody think, and just started following my heart, that's when things started to really show up and show out for me personally. I remember I went raw, I mean, not raw, I went plant based, went vegan in August of 2012. And then I remember I moved to a new city, that I was in a brand new city. It was new beginnings for me. I did not have a job at that time. I did not have my own place. I didn't have any of that, but I just kept having faith, and I kept taking actions, because faith without works is dead. So I kept writing in my journal. I kept listening to motivational things. I kept um, listening to recordings that supported me in manifesting what I desire. And before you know it, by October of that year, I had signed my lease for my own apartment. I had 2 jobs by then. I was really, really starting to create the life that I desire. And I was newly dating my husband at the time, because like I mentioned before, I was involved previously with a guy that was just not in alignment. We were not in alignment with each other, and he was not worthy of all of the things that I was just freely given to him. He did not showcase that he was worthy of any of that. So let me see, you're giving me so much energy right now because I'm thinking of to move. Is yes, if you feel the need to move, move. That's one thing that I encourage people. I'm a military brat, so I'm used to moving so much. So for me to be in a place, I've been in my hometown for 5 years. So that's a big deal for someone that's used to moving, has moved a lot in my adult years, from my early adult years, from my 20s into my early 30s. I definitely have moved a lot. So me being in one spot for about 5 years now, that's a big deal for me. But if you feel the urge to move, I highly encourage it, because you know your life, you don't know what you'll be experiencing. And I'm grateful for the places that I've moved to, because it really, I needed those places. It's definitely brought me to where I am now, when it comes to my personal development, when it comes to the things that I've been able to experience and accomplish. It definitely has been beneficial, even when it seems like it may be a hindrance. Like, I was in the middle of a personal development program when we decided to move down south. It would have been beneficial for me to stay up north, because it was only like an hour away, and I would have to go every weekend, not every weekend, every month, to for a whole weekend to spend time up there. you know so, but moving down south, I had to fly and everything, and money was really tight for us back then. Oh, excuse that noise. But yeah, I highly encourage that. It says, yes, I get it. We need to better qualify the people we allow in our life. Yes, and more people should be watching. Yes, yes. Hopefully, more people will be able to watch the replay, and I'll be able to put it up on my YouTube and whatnot, and on my Facebook. I'll be able to share it on there too when I upload it to my YouTube or whatnot. But yes, like, I highly encourage people to move. But back to I forgot what I was talking about. But yes, the main point is that cleaning up my body temple supported me in being able to clean up all the areas of my life, and it really catapulted me on my journey of health and wellness, and really connected me to my spirituality. It's not only about the environment and the animals for me, and about the health, but it also connect me to the divine, and being able to be one with, like, when I prepare raw foods, how that, and preparing the different colors, and like eating it, and when you grow your own food, and being able to prepare meals with the food that you grow, it just really, like, I remember taking a spiritual bath and really realizing, like, wow, I believe that part of the reason why I got on this journey was to connect more with spirit, to connect more with the universe. And it was just a beautiful and a magical thing. I said, you were talking about how you went raw vegan. Oh, I went plant based in 2012 and raw vegan in 2016. 2015. But 2016 is when I moved. And but yes, I also there was something else that I wanted to share about manifestation and how fast it can happen. Um, oh yes, some other things there's things that I've written. Oh, I know what it is that I was going to tell you all. There's also, before I moved up to Wilmington, Delaware, because I moved to Wilmington, Delaware in 2013. And I had been dating my husband for about a year at that point, and I was really apprehensive about moving up north to be with a man. I'm one of those people that I move because I want to move, not because of a relationship. So I was very leery and very uncomfortable about that. But one of the things that I did do is I would write my vision and write, like, my intention of what I wanted to do, as far as I did want to move closer to him, and I did want to have a particular job. At that time, I knew that I eventually would want to work for myself, but at that time I was still, in the working, arena, like working for someone else arena. But my husband definitely influenced me, because he's an entrepreneur by heart. but he definitely influenced me to like spread my wings and to fly as far as entrepreneurship. But back then I was envisioning a particular job that I wanted. So I would write down in my journal the job that I wanted, and I wanted it to be in Philadelphia, and I manifested that job. But faith without works is dead. So I eventually came to terms with, it felt like an ultimatum, but I did decide to go and move up north to be with my husband. We were just dating at that time, so that was a scary thing for me. And my mother told me, she was like, well, eventually one of y'all are going to have to move to be closer to each other. So if any doesn't work, you could just always come home. And I was just like, you know what? Since my mama said that, I'm just gonna go. So I didn't have a job in place. So it was very scary for me, but I took the chance. But I went on ahead and I put in my 3 weeks notice. I remember putting in my 3 weeks notice, and I remember right when I put in my 3 weeks notice, I saw a advertisement for the job that I wanted in Philadelphia. So what I did was I applied to it, and then I contacted the manager that was that the manager of that department. I did it on LinkedIn. And so he responded back to me, and he ended up, making sure that I had um, interview, and I had an interview with him over the phone. And then I got the job, and I got the job like maybe a week before I was moving. Before no, about a week. I got the job a week after I quit my job. So by the end of that month, and that was right around like the holidays, like Thanksgiving holidays. So by the end of that month, I moved to Delaware. And like literally right when I got to Delaware, I pretty much started that Monday. So see, that's the beauty of when you're in alignment and when you're focused on your goal. Let's see, you said you would journal writing something. I'm literally alone makes me nervous. I still say take the chance, and take a chance if it's something that that you're being called to do, and everything is meant to happen. Like for me, the reason why um I felt I felt called to come back down south, but I also felt the need to move too. I just know that there was a lot of fear that I had um of it being because it was with a man, and instead of just being me, solely me. Like if it was just me saying, "Oh, I want to move," I would have just moved, like whatever. But because it was, that's a lot of risk with that, and I normally wouldn't recommend that. I normally would recommend people to wait until they are engaged. If you want to be married, I normally would recommend that. But I trust I I do a lot of meditating and being still or whatever. So I knew that I was all right or whatnot. But it's just something that you really have to sit with yourself with and really become acquainted with yourself. And that's why I said cleansing your body will help you be able to hear yourself and hear your intuition and be able to see your vision. And you'll be led. You'll when you are in alignment, you won't be afraid. Everything will work out when you're in alignment. You'll find difficulty when you start having a lot of difficulty. And when I mean difficulty, I mean like everything is just saying no. that's that's when you know that maybe you need to reflect and maybe, slow down. But if everything's in alignment, you'll find that things that you didn't think was possible just open up for you. Yes, my fear is that it's just me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand. So I know I've heard that before too. Some people are afraid that it's just me. That is just me. I'm I guess for me, I'm such an introverted person. So for me, I'm okay. It's to me it's more difficult doing things because I now have a family and I have a child to think about and all of that stuff. So for me, it's just like I have to be way more mindful of like the things that I do because it really impacts everyone around me versus the other way around. But yeah, but that's the only, I'm like sharing just a smidget of the things that I've been able to manifest. A couple of people have called me the manifesting queen because of my ability to just do that or whatnot. And yes, and that's why I say that the biggest thing is that I know for me personally that I have to get out of my own way. The things that I have on my list of things to do, and that's another thing. Don't share everything. I know some people be like, share it, and some people be like, don't share it. I say don't share it because um, you don't know what people, you'll be amazed at people that you think are in your corner are not in your corner. You'll be amazed at how even people, you know, people's, you just got to be protective of your energy and um, protective of your vision, and share it when you feel comfortable with sharing it. Thanks. And the company I work for now, I don't have much of a choice because I'm not choosing to get vaccinated. So they're actually going to terminate me and anyone who chooses not to. Wow. Yes. So if that alone, do what is best for you, definitely do what is best for you. I know that this is a trying time. This is actually probably a good topic to have right now since you brought up that anyway. Since you brought that up, this is probably I'm glad I'm sharing this topic because, you know, when I was doing this, when I was, choosing to, embark on different ways of living, being, and doing, I was, everybody was living, everybody's getting a wake up call right now. That's all I'm saying. Everybody getting a wake up call right now or whatnot. But back then, I definitely understand where you're coming from in a sense though. I'm learning how to manifest, changing my thought the way. Yes, that's the biggest thing is your mind and your mental, and that's why I shared. That's why I like doing those 5-day raw vegan challenges because in them I don't talk just about food and about physical health and about meals and recipes. I really talk about um, things like you just talked about your belief system and about like how you can create the life that you desire, and how when I began to eat cleaner and healthier, that I began to manifest things much more faster and much more quickly, and it supported me in being more acquainted with my feelings and my emotions, and just being more mindful of um, the things that I feed myself, not just food, but the thoughts and the people, because you'll also have that people around you that some of them are intentional, some of them are unintentional, that say and do things that are not in alignment to the path that you're going on. And the biggest thing is to make sure that you have enough willpower and enough like a strong mind to where anything what they say won't matter. And that's where I'm at. That's the benefit of having strong Leo placements. Leo, Sun, Mars, and Mercury is that I am able to have a fixed, like when I believe in something, I just go with it and no one can get in my way. Yeah. And they're not accepting religious. I've heard of that too, that some people, that they're not that. And that topic right there is a whole nother thing. The way that they are pushing this is absolutely ridiculous. And it's very heartbreaking, and I on both ends, because there's a lot of people that really believe in the vaccines, and that's their business, and then there's people that don't believe in taking them, and that's their business too. But I just think that the way they're pushing this, and particularly in the United States, they're pushing this and not pushing healthy practices. Not just washing your hands. You should be washing your hands. You should be, being more, mindful of your space or whatever. But the fact that they're not pushing, eat healthier practices, that as far as eating healthier, supplements, vitamins, they're not really pushing that as much as they are just strictly pushing the vaccine and wearing your mask in the distance. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that it's just not right. And, and a lot of people that are talking about the things that I'm talking about, if their information is getting suppressed, and just the push to be vaccinated is being pushed. And I feel like it's all about balance. If you're going to talk about getting a vaccine, you also need to talk about people taking care of their mind, body, and spirit. But that doesn't make money. I could talk about that at a whole, not probably private, because like that right there, like as somebody that I feel like I'm an earth angel and I'm a light worker, that stuff like that really rattles me. And that's why it's my calling now more than ever to just be on this path, to be on this path and to share it to whoever's willing to hear and listen. They're taking away our choices and not telling people what they can do to stay healthier, right? And what's concerning me is the people that are just going along with it. That's the scary thing, So I'm grateful for the people that are being able to see this experience as something bigger than just, vaccinations and people dying and it's really scaring people, you know. There's a bottom line financially and politically, and there's also a hidden agenda underneath all of this. They are polluting every possible resource they have, from the soil to air. Exactly. And this more than ever is like pushing me to just even be more connected and to be even more self-sufficient and to be even more resourceful. And that's another thing. When you start to eat more of the earth and get into that realm of sustainability and everything, you'll find that you are pushed and encouraged to be more self-sufficient, because not depending there's convenience in living a lifestyle that is not as unhealthy. There's a lot of, it's easy to do it because they push it, and there's a convenience in it. But when you are choosing something different, you are being pushed to be more resourceful. You are pushed to be more independent, and you push to be more creative, and that opens the realm for everything else. That's how I look at it, for sure. They're going along with it because of the fear, because of the media push. Yes, the platform that mainstream media has right now. Yeah, yes, that's exactly what I agree with that. And I don't I don't watch none of that stuff. And I'm gonna be real with you. There are people with huge platforms that I may love their content, but if they push certain things too much, I'm like, okay, I don't know if they're intentionally doing it or they're not intentionally doing it. But I just know that you have to be mindful of the things you see on social media and everything. If you feel like somebody's pushing something too much and then it's not in alignment, I remove myself from their platform, because I'm like, okay, it's being pushed a little too much. But yeah, this was a very great conversation. I'm gonna talk about more stuff like this, because even though I talk a lot about eating raw vegan, there's so many more aspects to me. It's just that eating plant-based and eating raw like was the gateway for me to be able to share all my other interests and all my other divine gifts and the things that I'm supposed to share with the world. To me, it was the gateway to really open me up like a lotus blossom. Um, me either. Yes, me either. I don't listen to it, but I see it on social media. Yes. Yes. So it's just like I have to be more. Now is the time to be more mindful of the things we see, watch, hear, listen to, everything like that. It's so imperative. And right now, the Mother Earth is purging. Mother Nature is purging. And, the biggest thing is to strive to be in an alignment of that. This is the perfect time. September is the perfect time to start that releasing and letting go and purging, so that we can prepare ourselves for the winter, where we are able to be still and that we could plant our seeds in fertile ground to be able to, bloom in the spring. So that's the biggest thing. And you're so welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a great conversation with you, Gina. Yep. It says, I missed the first part. What you don't. Oh, we were just talking about the media pushing just different things as far as the vaccinations and things of that nature. Just being more mindful of what is being pushed out there. Because I just feel like there's an imbalance. There's not enough people talking about in the big media talking about healthy ways of living and being and doing, and just pushing the vaccinations. That's how it is for me in the United States. I don't know where anybody else is, but yeah, I started saving all the seeds for my fruits. Yes, that's a great idea. Yes. I remember when we saved certain seeds like watermelon seeds, we were able, it paused on me. Yes. I was saying that I remember we saved our watermelon seeds like back in 2016, and I remember growing some we grew some watermelon. It tastes good. I'm not surprised about that, about a seed shortage. I really need to get back into growing my food. Like, I really need to get back into that. I really feel I have lots of seeds. I just need to grow. I just need to get back into that for real, for real. Yeah. But I'm about to go, you guys. I'm about to go. Yes, because even though I love the rain, I know the connection. That's part of the reason why the connection is going out, because I'm right in the middle outside. So I'll talk to you all later and have a great day. Bye.